Well, while we're down at this coin event, I thought I'd get hold of the new Treasury Minister, Mr. Ashford, and a general piece. But I mean, obviously settling in. Did you want this job?
I'm happy to take on Treasury.
Did you want the job?
Well, I said I would do any job that I was offered.
Would you like to stay with health?
I will miss health. I've got to be honest about that. I've enjoyed my time as Minister for Health, but as I said to you during the election, I sometimes think it is good for politicians to move on because you can be in a department too long. I did for nearly 4 years at the Department of Health, and it will always have a special place in my heart, but I'm delighted to take on the role of Treasury Minister. There's a huge amount of challenges over the next 5 years in terms of the nation's finances, and I'm looking forward to getting stuck into those challenges.
Well, of course, at the end of the day, you sign off the cheques in a sense, don't you, for what's going on below you in that sense. Are you prepared for the rough road ahead? Because every time they need more money, the health always needs more money, right? You're prepared for that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not about just Treasury. It's about engaging with the departments and working with the ministers across government to ensure that we end up with a fair financial settlement that's fair to all our services. I mean, I think I quoted to you once, Paul, when I was Minister for Health, that I could actually spend the entire government budget 3 times over.
That's what I was thinking.
And then come back for more.
Exactly.
So it's about ensuring that the money we have is spent wisely and it's spent in the right places that will have the biggest effect on our island's population.
So will there be a shake-up, though, in not just maybe health, maybe in everything? Will you be looking things in a new light?
Well, I think we need to look at the way we do our budgetary allocations and the way we engage with departments. I've already started conversations with the Treasury officers around that, about how I want to shake that up a bit and change the way that Treasury engages, and that should be forthcoming in the next couple of months.
Can we talk about gas as one thing that's obviously hit you straight away? I mean, gas was up, it's gone down a bit now, but the price has gone through, the increases. How can you keep a check on all this now? Because it's going to fluctuate, isn't it?
Well, we have to be clear, it's not for us to keep a check on it. We have an independent regulator in Cura. The only reason this came to Tynwald at all was, unfortunately, we're in a sort of no man's land at the minute. Cura is up and running, but the regulations that back Cura up aren't in place as yet, and they've still to come before Tynwald. So that meant it still required a Tynwald vote. Once the independent regulator is fully functional, these are decisions that the independent regulator will make. Cura is keeping a constant view on what's happening in the markets, and yes, the wholesale gas market price has come down, but it is still a long way from where it has been. So for instance, at the moment, close of business yesterday, it was 167 pence per therm that it was settling at, but bearing in mind 6 months ago it was roughly around about 60 pence per therm, so that just gives you an idea of the scale of the impact that's still there.
And safety measures for the vulnerable, are you happy with what you put in place?
So I'll be engaging with members over the next month before ahead of the regulations coming to Tynwald to see what we can do to tweak them and expand them, but it is the most vulnerable in society that we need to focus on. Despite the myth that seems to have come across in the last couple of weeks, it's not just those on benefits that are being supported. Those who wouldn't normally get a winter fuel allowance, such as those entitled to EPA, will also be getting the benefit, and we've also got a taper amount for those who don't qualify for benefits. If they're just above the thresholds, they will be able to apply and get support as well.
I mean, before the Manx gas thing got where it was, the Treasury were going to give money back to the people who actually, the consumers. That all went off the table because Manx Gas were going to give also a rebate as well. You don't think you got any movement there to give the customers that rebate?
We need to be clear, the rebate was from Manx Gas. There's part of the deals. So part of the deal with Manx Gas was that if we didn't go down the route of regulation and we went for another voluntary agreement, Manx Gas said there would be a rebate back to the customers.
But when you put some money,
there's two rebates. So there's that rebate, and then there's also the statutory rebate that goes through. The statutory rebates have been going through as normal, but the other rebate that Manx Gas proposed came off the table because we didn't go down the route of a voluntary agreement. We ended up going down the route of creating an independent regulator.
Because you could, let's face it, you could put money in and help out all the customers. You could do something probably with VAT or just give a rebate.
Well, we can't do anything with the VAT because we're locked into the agreement with the UK.
It's a non-transferable item. I thought you could do it with
No, it's not. It's not.
You can't take gas off the island, can you?
We can't actually reduce the the rate
You cannot.
Unless it is done in the UK as part of our reciprocal agreement.
Let's talk about another thing while we've got you, the airport passenger tax. There's all this talk about moving it down. All those years ago, and I'm just looking back on this thing, when it came in here, the Isle of Man government didn't have to do it, but they did it. It's a nice little money maker. This is a chance now for you to change things again. Will you go with the UK and reduce it down, but albeit in, is it 2023 they're talking about?
So that is something that we're looking at. We need to see the exact detail of what the UK has done.
You don't have to follow them, do you?
We don't have to follow
So you
them.
could bring it down.
And bear in mind that what the UK has done does not affect the Isle of Man.
Mm-hmm.
We need to actually look at what impact it would actually have, because although it sounds great as a headline, when you drill down into the figures, in terms of those who are actually travelling, the reduction is absolutely minimal in what people would see feeding through to their ticket price. So we need to actually just look at really what impact is such a reduction going to have on the ground, but that is something Treasury is looking at, and we'll be coming forward shortly.
And because I haven't talked to you since the UK budget anyway, you sat there and watched X and Y being said. Impact here, I mean, and the 15% is also the other thing that's going on. There's so many things to talk about here, as a tax rate. What do you think? Are you worried for the future at the moment, or are you being cautious? How do you...
The Isle of Man is fully signed up to the new corporate tax rate structure that was agreed globally for those taxes on big businesses. We announced that several months ago now under the last administration, and this administration remains committed to that agenda. In terms of the UK budget, there was obviously lots of measures that will impact the UK domestic economy, not quite so many that will actually impact the Isle of Man as such.
Okay. To finish with, are you getting less emails now?
It has come down quite a bit. Less health-related emails, obviously more Treasury-related emails. So as with everything in politics, it all eventually balances itself out.